Hello and welcome to this practice. Thank you as always for taking the time to get onto your mat and take some time for yourself to move your body in a conscious and positive way. Okay, so this practice we are going to focus on the lower half of the body and the legs. We'll balance it out with a bit of rotation and arm movements, and it's about building strength and stability in the muscles that support us in walking and in our day-to-day movement. We will need a comfortable space to practice in, a yoga mat, and a chair that doesn't have any hand or arm rests. Okay, so let's get started. We are going to get started today straight away, jumping into it in tabletop. So coming onto our hands and knees. Remember, you always have the option to fold your mat or maybe take a pillow or a blanket just to pad your knees if you are practicing on a hard surface. And we're just going to check our alignment here. So bring your knees in line with your hips. Your feet are in line with your knees. So if you look down between your knees, you don't want to see your feet. Wrists are stacked in line with your shoulders and pull your shoulders away from your ears. If you do find that your wrists are compressing, you can move your hands slightly forward, and sometimes it even helps to fold your mat and then place your hands on your mat with the fingers pointing off so that the wrists have got almost a tiny little bit of a slope here, just to give that a little bit of support. Okay, so think long spine, and then we're going to start with our breath here. So bring your attention to your navel and imagine breathing towards the belly, and as you inhale, the belly drops down. So relax these muscles, breathing towards the pelvic floor. Let the lower back sink through, shoulders away from the ears, and your gaze can go forward. Then as you exhale, round your spine, so draw in the navel, zipping up the lower belly. Let your head drop between your shoulders and then push into your hands and the tops of your feet. Make sure you're not leaning with your weight over the wrists, but you're pushing your weight back towards your hips as you round and exhale. Good. Then inhale, drop the navel, let the lower back sink through. It's not an exaggerated movement. The breath creates the movement. Let your head come up and your gaze go forward. Exhale, zip up the lower belly, draw down the ribs, round your spine, drop your head between your shoulders, push into the hands and the tops of the feet. So really rounding and accentuating that long exhalation. Inhale to drop the navel, and then the head and your gaze follows. So you'll keep going here at your own pace. We don't need to count rounds, but you'll use the length of your breath to guide the movement. And we almost want to push into a little bit of discomfort with the exhalation. So really make sure that you squeeze all that air out, drawing in the navel, hugging down the ribs, and exhale, 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 exhale each time just a little bit longer. And then let's do one more round. Wherever you are, either completing the round or doing one more, just depending on the length of your breath. And we always end on an exhalation. And then once you've completed your exhalation, come back to a neutral spine. Bring your big toes to touch. You can push your buttocks back towards your heels. We just take a break here in child's pose. So find a position here that works for you at the beginning of the practice. So maybe it feels nice to have the arms extended. Maybe you want to just bring your hands underneath your forehead or stack your fists. Sometimes it's also nice just to stay up on the elbows. So you're still feeling that stretch into the glutes and into the hamstrings with the hips sinking back towards the heels. But you don't have the rounding of the spine and the head dropping down towards the floor. Maybe wrapping your hands around your feet, curling into a little ball. So really just tune into what works for you here. And every time that you do this practice, it may be different. We'll just take a few grounding breaths here, noticing your breath in and out through the nose, drawing it all the way down towards the navel and the pelvic floor and expanding towards the lower back as you breathe. Okay, Okay, good. Let's release here. So on your next inhalation, you can lift your gaze. Let's meet back here in tabletop. And now we're going to do a thread the needle variation. So again, let's just check that our knees are about as wide as our hips, maybe even a little wider if you want a bit more of a wider base, and your hands are just comfortably apart here, shoulder width or maybe a bit wider. Make sure you shift your weight back towards your hips. Then we're going to thread the left arm underneath the right armpit, reaching the fingertips through, but the arm is not resting, the hand's not resting on the floor. Keep it lifted, keep the fingertips reaching, drop that shoulder down, but again the shoulder doesn't drop all the way down to the floor. Keep support with your right hand, and then inhale to come back up. And then place the hand down, and then we swap sides. So now left fingertips go underneath the right, reaching through. Make sure you keep your weight shifted towards the hips. Arm stays elevated, so it's not resting on the floor. Reach with the fingertips, so it's more active. Then push into your left hand to come back to center, and then we swap. Left arm underneath right armpit. Reach and extend it through, and then come back. Okay, good. Now we move with breath. Exhale, thread the right arm through. Inhale to come back to center, and exhale, left arm reaches through, and then come back, and right arm, and inhale to bring it back. Good, one more each side. Exhale, and to center, last one, and then come back and meet at tabletop. Good. Find a bit of movement here if you feel that you need to just stretch the legs back or bump the hips side to side. Maybe put the backs of the hands on the floor just to let the wrists go the other way. Okay, good. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then bring your hands slightly forward and out to the corners of the mat. Curl your toes under. Inhale, and then exhale. Lift your hips high for a downward facing dog. Not going to stay here for too long, so just find a moment here in this shape, pedaling the legs, so alternately bouncing one heel down to the floor. Grip into all 10 fingers, shake your head loose, then bring your feet nice and wide, maybe even as wide as your yoga mat. Put a slight bend in your knees, let your heart space drop through to your upper legs. Deep breath in and exhale. Good, then from here we'll walk our hands and our knees towards each other. And then once they meet, bring your hands onto your legs, bend your knees generously, and use your hands and squeeze your glutes to support your back to come all the way up to standing. Good, roll your shoulders back. You can turn sideways on your mat. Take a nice wide stance, take up some space. So spread your fingers wide, reach your hands up to the corners of the room. Nice big star stretch. And then you can even find a little bit of movement. So a bit of sway here. Leaning forwards and backwards. You can even reach opposite hand to foot. Just keep your breath going through your nose. Good work. 3, 2, 1. And then relax. Good. Come back to center. Heel toe, the feet in towards each other. And now we're going to use our chair. So we want to have the chair so that we've got enough space to step back from, and your hands resting on the back of the chair. So walk your feet back, and then we're going to just lengthen the spine here, drop the heart space through, but we're not overextending. So we're not wanting to be aggressive here with dropping the heart space through, maybe potentially pinching into the shoulders. So just keep it nice and soft. Put a slight bend in your knees. So let the hips hinge here, and the sitting bones reaching towards the back. Make sure you're not dropping the lower belly, you're not arching the back, you're keeping that support in the lower belly. And we'll just take a few breaths here. Okay, good. Then we'll come back up again. You can walk your hands forward, walk your feet forward just to come upright again and out of the position. And now we're going to stretch into the hamstrings, and we're going to find the level here that works for you. So stepping back again, just maybe leaning with your hands on the back of the chair. See if you feel a stretch in your hamstrings. If you're not feeling anything here, you can come down onto the elbows. Maybe you start feeling a little bit of a stretch here. If this is really not doing anything, then you turn the chair sideways and you come with your hands onto the chair. Maybe you start feeling something here. Remember, there's a soft bend in the knees. Okay, and just checking that you're not standing too far away from the chair. You want the weight of the feet stacked in line with the hips. Or maybe you come down onto the elbows here. Okay, so wherever you are, we're going to stretch one leg out. So now I'm straightening my right leg and bending my left knee. And we stretch into the hamstrings on the right side. And then we swap. So we straighten the left and bend the right. And then we keep swapping, alternating, bending and straightening opposite knees. And just check in with your lower back. So if you are taking strain, remember to maybe rather come up a little bit, higher up on the hands. Letting your breath move in and out through your nose continuously as you stretch into the hamstrings. Good, and we'll keep going. We're here for a last 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Even it out, so make sure you stretch both legs equally. And then we come back to center and release. Good work. Give the legs a bit of a shake, maybe the shoulders a bit of a roll if you need that. And then we're going to hold onto the back of the chair again. And we'll do some straightforward calf raises. So your fingertips are light on the back of the chair, so it's just there for balance. Your feet are comfortably apart. And then we're going to rise up onto the balls of the feet. Relax your shoulders. Imagine the crown of the head reaching up towards the sky. And then slowly sink your heels back down. And let them relax onto the mat. And feel your weight distributing back again. So resting on the heels. Then shift your weight forward over the balls of the foot. Rise onto the toes. Ground your heels. And let your weight center so you can test it by taking your hands away from the back of the chair. Forward and up. Lower down with control, ground your heels and let your weight center. So chest over pelvis, and we keep going. Nice and steady breaths. You don't have to breathe with the movement here, you just let your breath flow in a way that feels natural, and we take it slow and steady. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Complete your last round. Ground your heels and relax. Give the legs a shake and a wiggle. Okay, now we're going to work in a different calf muscle. So what we do, again, feet are about hip width apart. Feet stacked in line with your hips. And then make sure that your chest or your is centered over your hips. You can use the back of the chair for support. And then we're going to put a bend into the knees. So you may feel here already it's starting to stretch a bit into the calf muscles. That's absolutely fine. We're going to keep this bend in the knees, the hip hinge, and the lower back or the tailbone sinking down towards the mat. Then rise onto the balls of the feet, onto the toes, and control as you reground the heels. Keep the weight shifted forward, fingertips on the back of the chair. Rise up and down. Make sure the heels ground and then you lift up again. And then back down. Heels make contact and up. I'm starting to feel my quads. That's absolutely fine. And down. And keep going. Steady breaths. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And ground your heels, completing your last round. Straighten out again. Shake of the legs. Cleansing breath. And let that go. Good, well done. From here, keep holding on to the back of the chair just for that stability. Your gaze is forward and your chest or your heart space is lifted. So we're not rounding and looking down. Make sure that you look at the horizon in front of you. Then shift your weight onto your left leg. So I'm just going to turn sideways so that you can see. Shift your weight onto your left leg and you're just going to bring the right foot out to the side and then bring it back again. Doesn't have to move out too far. So just where your hip stops, you stop and then bring it back. And you'll feel the supporting leg working hard as well. It's all okay. Just stay nice up straight. Keep breathing through your nose. And then you can speed it up a little bit. So really activating into this outer hip muscles and into the glute. We're here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Good. You may have felt the supporting leg working hard as well. And now when we work on the second half, or the other side, you may feel that the side fatigues a little bit more quickly. That's absolutely normal because your legs have now already worked to stabilize you and to create movement. Okay, so holding onto the back of the chair, sit up tall, stand up tall. So heart in line with your pelvis and your gaze is straight in front of you. Relax your shoulders, shift your weight onto the right leg, and then move it out to the side. Again, just notice what this side allows. Stop where your body stops. We don't want to move into cramping. Bring it out and in. We just start slowly, feeling into the distribution of the weight on the right leg now. Steady breaths. Good, and then we can speed it up. See if you can stay here for the full 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Bit of a burn. Good work. All right, so still staying with the chair. And we're going to turn sideways here, and we hold with one hand onto the back of the chair. This is just a safety net. So if you are able to do this without the back of the chair, with both hands on your hips, then please go ahead and do that. Otherwise, the chair is there for you just to put your hand on if you feel that you need to. So we're going to do marches. So we're working here on the hip flexor. Feet are hip width apart, and your heart is lifted and your gaze is looking straight ahead. So we don't want to look down at our knee and at our toes. We're just looking straight forward. And then we're going to lift the right knee up to about a 90-degree angle and then set it down again. And then we're going to swap. So it's almost like a marching motion, like when we walk. Left knee comes up to about 90 degrees or as high as this hip allows, and then set it down. And you'll feel your weight shifting from one side to the other as well. So that's great. That's what needs to happen. Your brain is making that connection. I'm shifting my weight side to side, and I need to counter just as long as you stay upright. We just take it slow and steady. There's no need to speed it up. And we keep going here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Make sure you've done both sides equally, and then relax. Okay, good. Now we're going to hold it. So starting first with the right leg, bring your right knee up to about a 90-degree angle. If it can stay and maintain here, perfect. Otherwise, if you need to set the toes down and come back when you feel ready, that's absolutely fine. Relax, breathe, and hold. Good work. Another 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and set it down. Awesome work. Other side. You may notice a difference in this side. Maybe you need to just keep the leg a little lower or the toes on the floor. Do what's right for this side. So don't try and force anything here because you feel both sides need to work equally or evenly. Your gaze is steady, looking straight over the horizon. Breath moving in and out. So we're nice and calm. And the last 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and set it down and relax. Good work. Give it a shake. Give it a wiggle. Cleansing breath as always whenever we need it. Okay, good. Now we're going to come and sit on our chair. But I want you to be mindful of how you sit on your chair. So I'm going to turn sideways so that you can see what I mean. So when you come down and sit on a chair, see if you can avoid putting your hands behind you and then sitting down. So you want to come and angle yourself over the chair, and then we're going to hinge here at the waist, pushing the glutes backwards. So we're not rounding and flopping down. We're going to control the movement here. So we hinge at the waist first. So bend your knees, feel the weight centering or anchoring. So your toes are gripping into the mat. The feet are actually working quite hard. Shifting the hips back, keep the back long so the lower belly and the core muscles are engaged, and then slowly and with control, sit with your hips back onto the chair. Good work. A little bit harder work to sit like that. Okay, good. And then we're going to stretch out the glutes with a pigeon stretch. So just sitting, I need to sit quite to the front of my chair, otherwise my feet don't reach. But you can sit comfortably all the way back if that's within your range. And then we're going to bring the right ankle onto the left knee. And we just stay here and feel. So we want to feel the stretch here on the outside of the right hip, maybe even going into the quadricep. Maybe you'll feel it pulling a little bit into the lower back. If you feel this is enough of a stretch, this is where you stay. Otherwise, you are welcome to start to lean forward with your heart space, keeping the spine long. And maybe you can even come with your elbows to rest on your leg or on your elbow, or on your lower leg or the ankle. Your knee, actually, that's what I wanted to say, the knee. Okay, so working within your range here, we're going to stay here for a good few breaths. So almost imagine breathing into the space where you feel the stretch the most intensely. And almost mentally just letting that muscles or encouraging those muscles to soften. Breath is moving in and out through the tip of the nose. Neck is soft, shoulders are soft, facial muscles are relaxed. Check that you're not clenching your teeth. Last 10 seconds. Okay, let's release. So we'll come back up. If you are leaning forward, take that knee and just give it a gentle squeeze in towards your chest and then set it down. And then other side. So left ankle now just above the right knee. Start here. See what you feel. Am I feeling anything? If I'm feeling enough of a stretch, the pose is already doing everything that it needs to do. Otherwise, leaning forward, make sure that you keep your spine straight. So we're not rounding and dropping our head down towards our leg. We're keeping the heart space nice and lifted. Just gently leaning forward until you feel that it is starting to stretch. And just doing what this side allows. And then soften into the shape. If you notice that you are sort of holding your breath, you're not exhaling completely, maybe gritting the teeth, you may have gone too far into the stretch. Sometimes when we stay in the stretch, the body starts to go, this isn't safe, and it starts pulling tight. Then you just ease off a little bit and then lean back in. So if you can't stay here and just breathe comfortably through it, then your body's telling you to back off, and that's absolutely okay. Nothing wrong with that. We take with whatever this practice allows. Okay, we're going to be here for another 10 seconds. Awesome work, and then we'll release that. Coming up, releasing the stretch, hug that knee in towards your chest. And then release. Okay, good. We're going to come down onto the mat. And then we're going to lie with our legs bent on the chair. So position the chair and then come and lie down. And then get your legs onto the mat, onto the chair. And just let your entire spine and your head relax and soften into the floor. So if you need a bit of a pillow or something just to support your head, just to make it this a little bit more comfortable, that's absolutely fine. Do that for yourself. We're going to spend a while here with our legs just resting on the chair. But if at any stage you feel this is not working for you, this is uncomfortable, then take the chair away and just place your feet on the floor and keep your knees bent. Take up a bit of space with your arms, maybe even turning the palms to face up. So just coming out of that fight or flight mode. And then bring your awareness to your belly. And then we start to breathe towards the navel. So imagine your belly as a balloon. Feel the belly rise as you inhale. And also expanding towards the pelvic floor and the lower back. The lower part of the ribs will flare out when you inhale. And then when you exhale, the navel sinks back down. Imagine zipping up the lower belly, so from the pelvic floor, zipping all the way up to the navel. And maybe you feel the lower back just firmly pressing into the floor. And these lower ribs gently hug down as you activate these deep core muscles when you squeeze into the exhale. So nice long breaths. I'm just going to stay here for a few of these belly breaths. Making sure you exhale completely before you breathe in again, maybe almost pushing into a little bit of discomfort. And that is how we increase our range and the effectiveness of our breath. Okay, let's do one more breath. One more cycle of breath means that we end on an exhale. So once you've completed your last full exhalation, you can come back to your normal breath and just breathe comfortably here. Okay, good. Bring your arms next to you. And then we're going to reach the right arm overhead, and we're going to use our breath here to do this. So we breathe into the navel, expanding to the lower belly as you bring the right arm overhead. And then you exhale, hug down the navel, push the lower back into the floor, squeeze down the ribs, and then float your arm back to its starting position. Very good. So inhale, breathe into the belly. Let the arm float overhead. And exhale. Let your exhale start first. So hugging into the belly, squeeze the ribs down, and then you bring your arm back. Good. Inhale. And then as you use that exhalation to stabilize your core, you'll feel that the arm almost feels light when you float it down. Good, we'll do two more. Last one. Slow and controlled and mindful. And relax. Good. We'll straight away go on to the other side. So swapping sides. Inhale, left arm floats over. Breathe and expand the balloon. Exhale, activating the core muscles, and then float the arm down. And we'll keep going. 3, 4, and the last one. And then relax. Check if you're still okay lying like this with your legs on the chair. Let your arms rest next to you. Take up space. Let your shoulders relax away from your ears. You can gently close your eyes. Let your body soften. And then we'll stay here and just relax. Taking a moment for ourselves here. Steady breaths flowing in and out. We'll stay here just a little bit longer. if you are very comfortable and you've got the time, you are welcome to stay here for as long as you need. Maybe even up to 5 minutes. That'll be great. If you do want to come out of it with me, I've gone completely zen. You can bring your knees in towards you. And then we're just going to very gently and mindfully roll over onto one side. Pausing here, just getting ready to transition from this practice, from this moment of rest into the rest of the day. You can even open your eyes if they're not open already. Just becoming fully awake and aware. Push into your top hand and help yourself up to a seated position. Coming to any nice easy seat here. We'll round off our practice just by bringing our hands to our heart center. Take a deep breath in. And exhale, dropping nose to fingertips as we bow in gratitude for our bodies and for our practice. Namaste.